Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome to the Property Show live on Galaxy Television. My name is Najib Adeyemi. Last week on the show, we discussed about property planning and succession. We informed you that the process of planning and of your property in terms of succession is simply the process of transferring interest in properties from one person to the other, or from one generation to the other. This could be by way of wills, or what we term generally as transfer documents, or otherwise known as instruments. So this could be by will, or deed of gifts, or even deed of trust. In a case whereby the owner of a real estate died intestate, that is, died without a will or without any formal arrangement, this means that the person has died intestate. As a result, such property will be administered according to the custom and the law of the land. And in this case, the inheritors or successors of such real estate or the successors of such a deceased person would go ahead to apply for what we refer to as letter of administration. We went further to tell you that under the Nigerian law, no child is a bastard. Therefore, owners of real estate should make proper arrangements, especially for when they are no more alive. And in doing this, we advise you that you should talk to a real estate lawyer, preferably, who is going to guide you in preparing such document, because it has to suit the purpose you're doing it for, especially for those who have children outside wedlock or more than one wife. In furtherance to enlightening you on how to prevent your real estate investments, today we are going to be talking about fire and insurance. You'd agree with me that in the past month, Nigeria generally has experienced incessant fire outbreaks, especially in our marketplaces, with particular reference to Ochanja Market in Upper Iweka, in Onitsha, Anambra State, also in Balogun in Lagos Island, Lagos State, and also somewhere in Mushin Amu Plank International Market in Mushin, Lagos. Today, we have someone in the studio who is going to bring in a whole lot of wealth of experience in the insurance industry, and is going to be enlightening us on how to prevent our investments, both property and good. With me in the studio is Mr. Alfred Tabiti. Mr. Alfred, thank you so much for joining.
Very well, thank you for having me.
All right. Mr. Alfred is the head bank assurance, Alliance Nigeria Insurance. A very quick background to the incessant fire incidents in the past few months. In October 16, 2019, in Ochanja Market, Upper Iweka, in Onitsha, Anambra State, the cause of that fire incident was a fuel-laden tanker that fell off due to a brake failure opposite a popular hospital, spilled towards the market's axis. All right. The response from Anambra Fire Response was not. Anambra Fire Service were not forthcoming, and they sought help from neighboring fire service in Asaba, Delta State. Casualty involved one woman who died with her only child. Another man ran into his shop to retrieve the money stacked in the shop, and he went with that fire. Also in Ochanja, in October 18, 2019, another fuel-laden tanker fell off. We had 28 casualties, 28 vehicles burnt, and 6 houses burnt as well. The same on October 5 and October 6, November 5 and November 9, I beg your pardon, in Balogun Market, particularly at Martin Street. Thank God Lasema was quick enough to curtail the fire incident, but that of November 5, a police who was deployed to that scene died in the process of attacking the fire. Also, properties worth millions of naira were lost. Also, in January 2020, at January 25, 2020 to be specific, at Amu Plank Market, an electric surge was said to have been the cause of that fire, and that fire incident started in the midnight. All right, Lasema, Julius Berger fire units, and all other responders made sure that that fire didn't actually get out of hand. No life was lost. Goods and properties worth millions of nairas were destroyed. All right. Also, on the 29th of January 2020, at Balogun Market, a trader who was pouring a fuel in a generator that was on and running, and the fuel spilled on the fuel tank, and that was how it got at fire. From that point, it escalated to neighboring plazas, and that was how that happened. Then a man died on the spot. That's the man pouring the fuel died at the spot. Also, 7 buildings went down. Today, like I said, we have somebody who is going to be telling us what we need to do to prevent the loss of fire, and he's going to be enlightening us and educating us on this. But that will be right after this break. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the Property Show live on Galaxy Television. Don't forget to join the conversation. You can send text messages to +234 8034 142611. You can also join or through our social media platforms: Instagram at the Property_Show, Facebook at the Property Show 1. All right, today before that break, we said we are going to be talking about fire and insurance, and we still have Mr. Alfred Tabiti to do justice to this topic. Mr. Alfred Tabiti, you are in the insurance industry, and I'm so sure you would have received cases on fire incidents. What, from your interactions with people, what are usually the causes of these fire outbreaks?
Okay, first of all, our empathy goes to all the victims of the fire incidents all across Nigeria, especially the most recent one in Balogun Market. I am sure billions of naira in property and assets would have been lost. And not also forgetting the fact that a life was lost in that incident. Now, in terms of causes of fire, mainly it's usually due to human negligence. We all owe ourselves, and in fact our loved ones and those prized assets that we have, that duty of care. It means that whatever you do, you must, pay premium on the fact that you also have to be careful to do those little things that you're expected to do. Like when you're leaving your home in the morning, you want to turn off all of your appliances. Like when you're leaving your office in the evening, you want to turn off all the appliances. You don't want to crowd your sockets with chargers and all of those things. And then Balogun Market, as a case in point, you can imagine when you walk around that market, you find people with power generating sets on balconies of buildings. That's a calamity in the waiting. There's no way you can escape it. It's going to happen. So in this case, we need government to stand up to their responsibilities. We need people to also value their own lives, value their own assets. And in your opening remarks, I heard of somebody in Onitsha who had to run back into the store to salvage a few things. Come on, your life is a lot more important. But I think that basically, apart from negligence on the part of us as humans generally, there may be some unforeseen circumstances, like the fuel-laden tanker in Onitsha, due to no fault of anybody in the market. That disaster happened. But largely, we all just need to be careful wherever we find ourselves. So human error, and then those unforeseen circumstances. But more importantly, what are the elements that are responsible for fire as a whole? If you have anything that can burn, that thing in itself is fuel. Then you have anything that can ignite, that can start a fire. You have to be very careful. And then wherever you are, we find oxygen is everywhere. Where there's air, that fire will continue to move so far. So again, back to my point is about duty of care. We all just need to be careful. That's what I think we should manage.
Need to be careful in managing our properties so that fire doesn't just take off all our life investments and savings. All right, having identified those causes, what do you think should be precautions to be taken by people?
In terms of precautions, really, there is no limit to the things that we need to do to be very careful.
Right.
We have all labored so much to put up the little things that we have in terms of our businesses, in terms of our homes, and we don't want to see that go up in flames. And then I mentioned earlier about the very little things that we all need to do. Because if you look at the easiest of the causes of these fires would be our generating set, for example, would be our homes where there's blackout and people resort to lighting candles in 2020. I think we're a bit far back in terms of civilization in that aspect. Again, we would look at the fact that we also send people who need care to take care of other things that may have bigger impact on us. So what I mean by that is where you are in a home and you have children, you owe yourself that care to be sure that these kids move around within the limit of things that would not lead to a disaster eventually. My advice again to people would be that we need to invest in knowledge. You don't need government, you don't need anybody to come teach you to be careful. You need also to invest in knowledge. Find out those little courses. Find out what actions you need to take and when. I've seen people with appliances where the cables are broken and they just tape that thing and continue to use it. You know, until something happened to you very closely, people just seem to assume that these things cannot happen.
Yeah.
Oh, it happens to those guys far away, but not us. But I can tell you,
here, God forbid.
Well, God forbid is a Nigerian thing. We just believe that God is our keeper, and so we don't need to keep ourselves.
All right, very quickly, let's go to the issue of insurance in this matter. In Nigeria, the awareness of insurance is not, well, should I say, is not really people are not really aware, you know, not that people don't know the word insurance, but the real essence of insurance. Could you just talk to our viewers? What the essence of insurance?
You know, I always seem to agree, you know, to an extent, to the fact that the awareness is not there. I think that the awareness to a large extent is there. And then the insurance industry as a whole, it's always going on campaigns to continue to enlighten people. But what I see as a critical factor here is that even people who know, people who are supposedly educated, who know the benefits of insurance, still don't buy insurance. People still have that belief that, oh, what if nothing happens to me? But for those of us in insurance business, what we say is, what if it then happens? Insurance is one of those things that you need to have even when you don't need it, so that when you need it, it will not be missing. It's always there. So, and if you look at the industry today in terms of what insurance brings to the table, insurance safeguards your wealth, gives you peace of mind. So whilst you take care of these things, you pay attention to these simple rules that we advise that you pay attention to. Insurance gives you that that confidence to say that in spite of this, I am not losing everything. So imagine the traders in Balogun market or the traders in that market in Onitsha. If that simply put in place some sort of insurance policy against fire and special perils, we're not saying because you have insurance you shouldn't be careful, but what we're saying is now that you have that policy in place, what simply happens is safeguard your own life first and then leave the insurance companies that have collected premium from you to then come back to compensate you for that loss.
I like the fact that you mentioned insurance and this issue of fire you're talking about. Okay. For people who were affected in those casualties, what do you think, what kind of insurance can they buy into? Now, two things now, the buildings themselves and those, or let me say the owners of the buildings and those who have those.
To own businesses.
Exactly. What kind of insurance policy can they buy into?
Okay, that's a very good question that you have asked. And again, I say it's a very, very simple question. Okay, so there's an insurance product called Fire and Special Perils Policy. All right. It covers not just fire as the name implies, but some other incidences that may result in a loss. So as the owner of that building, not just a business and commercial building now, I'm even talking about landlords of residential properties, you can take that Fire and Special Perils Policy to say that in the event of any form of fire incident, in fact, that policy goes further than fire, and then says if there's lightning, if there's a burst in your pipe, if there's flooding, if there's damage to your fence or collapse of your building, the insurance companies will indemnify you, meaning that we will put you back at the position that you were before the loss. Now, as an occupant of that building, again, not only as a shop owner or business owner, even tenants in residential buildings, you can also take a house homeowner's insurance that covers the content of your home as well as the content of your shop. Okay. So for residential buildings, you take the homeowner's insurance. Then for business owners, you can then extend your fire insurance policy to cover burglary. Okay. Which means that not only would that cover for loss as a result of fire, but the incidents of theft in your home, in your shop, is also covered. And then what really excites me in this is that the premium due on these policies, compared to the probable loss that may occur, it's very, very minute. You know, the average rate in the industry today says that on a commercial building, I should charge you 0.2% for fire. So I am saying that, in fact, if I use both of us as an example, if we run a business where the total value of goods in that store is about 10-20 million, you'll be shocked that what you pay in premium is far less than 20,000 naira in an entire year. And that has no limit to the number of incidents that can happen within the year. But so long as it's within that 12 calendar months, whenever these things happen, your insurance company is there to always reinstate you to the position before the loss. Right. You know, so basically that's it.
All right. Yeah, I like the fact that basically insurance is just to put you back to the position you were before the status quo ante. All right. One of the issues often that arises talking about insurance is the payment of those premiums. Now, people look at it like, okay, what if nothing happens? Is there a case where the premiums we paid can be refunded back to you? You can't request for it.
Okay. That's a typical Nigerian concern, that I pay you, nothing happens. But I would always ask, what if something had happened? Yeah. Remember that your premium is a tiny fraction of the liability that the insurance company is carrying. So if you think that you have paid me 10,000 naira and nothing happens, I should return. Well, I don't know. I'll just compare that very quickly to you having a security guard in your house, what we call Megad in Lagos, for example, and you pay this your security guard salary on monthly basis, and then you come by December to say because there's been no robbery incident, return all the salaries that I've paid you from January. You know that's not going to happen. Remember, that guy has been sleeping outside the entire time with his gun, with whatever he uses. So also is the insurance company. But many insurance companies today, I don't want to go into brands, but for us, basically, I can't escape that. One of the things that we have put in place to do is, if you buy like a home insurance from us, for example, and there's been no claim for about 24 months, there's a 15% cash back on your premium that you get for not making any claim at all. And this continues for every 24-month period, you know. But basically, the argument would always come as to what do I get in return. But the first thing you are getting for paying premium is peace of mind. So you imagine when the fire starts, I try to salvage my certificates and a few other things, fine. But I do not want to endanger my life trying to save my TV, trying to save my refrigerator and all of that. Because the peace of mind says to me that, Alfred, escape first and then just go to your insurance company and fill a claims form. And once that is done, in a matter of days, I either get all of those items back or you pay me the money that I valued it, and then I go and get something else to replace that. So I'm not at a loss except for that premium that I have paid. All right.
That brings me to how you guys arrive at your values. Of course, if you're going to pay someone a particular fraction or whatever it is, reinstatements, you're indemnifying the person, how do you come up about your values? Do you engage professional party valuers, or you just tell the victims to just give you their values? And why I'm asking this question is, I know that in Nigeria today, the second option is what's usually obtained. But the question again is that the world best practice?
Okay, so that's again another serious question that you have asked. In terms of insurance on properties, there are categories. So if you're doing a commercial building, if you're doing even your home in some cases, of course we'll request that you present us a valuation report. A valuation report from certified estate valuers, or as the case may be. And again, but of course this is Nigeria. In some cases, when you are valuing your individual items, where you can provide me purchase receipts and all of that, then I can take that as valid, valuation from you. But more importantly, yes, we always try as much as possible to work with certified property valuers to do the valuation for us.
Okay, time is never a friend on this show, but one thing I want you to shed more light on is the issue of homeowners insurance, the difference between homeowners and fire and special peril. Now again, that's one side. Again, for those, particularly for those who their goods are carted away, or let me say are brought down by just that simple mistake of that fire incident, or even the property giving way. What kind of insurance exactly should they be looking to purchase? Okay. I don't know if you get it.
I get your point.
Yes, I want us to tackle that and talk to viewers
directly. Okay, so the point is, there's basically the similar scope of cover that we're offering, but the name slightly differs. Okay, so if you are doing your residential apartment, we'll call it homeowners, because that's your home.
All right.
Now, this product in itself is all encompassing, is an all risk. So it covers all the items that you have in your home. It covers the items that you even take out on a daily basis, your wristwatch, your iPads, your laptops, It covers the entire building in itself, So we call that the home insurance for you. Now for business owners, because that of course is not your home, we would rather call it fire and special perils or fire and burglary, so that the name is straightforward. You don't miss it. But then it covers in the incident of fire, other perils as it may be described, and then by extension would cover the goods in your shop. So whether you do home insurance or you do fire and special perils, including burglary, the whole idea is that in the event of any loss, the insurance company would indemnify you. So truly, you are not losing anything.
Thank you so much for this information. But before I let you go, just advise our viewers once again the major essence and why they must key into insurance today.
Okay, to our friends and viewers at home, all I would say is insurance is not expensive. You feel it's expensive until you suffer a loss. But do not wait till you suffer a loss before you begin to put something in place. So I would say to our viewers, look for a reputable insurance company in town. Ask questions, fill the forms, pay the premium. It's usually one-off. And now we have payment plans that makes it a lot more convenient for you to buy insurance. But above all, insurance, the value of it is inexhaustible. We just have to keep going on and on to explain.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Alfred Tabiti. Mr. Alfred Tabiti is head of Bank Assurance Alliance Nigeria Insurance. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, again, Mr. Alfred is a professional. He is not just one of those insurance brokers. He's an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Insurance of Nigeria. All right then, before we call it a wrap on the show today, I want to give us just a few tips to prevent against fire incidents. So avoid improper storage of fuel, avoid indiscriminate bush burning, avoid illegal connections and inferior cables and all. Avoid the use of candles, avoid indiscriminate disposal of cigarettes around the house or offices. Don't use phones near the fuel or near gas or fuel stations or your cooking appliances. Don't refuel your generators when they are on. Of course, take insurance. Also, switch off all your appliances while leaving the house. That's about all we'll be able to take on this episode of the Property Show. We say a very big thank you so much for being with us today. Don't forget, we can continue this conversation on our social media pages, Instagram plot at the Property_Show, Facebook at the Property Show 1, WhatsApp +2348034142611. You can also send us emails you can send your emails to thepropertyshowng@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Najib Adeyemi. Don't forget, Adeyemi is double I. Don't forget also, always remember to keep your real estate business as professional as possible. Until we come away again, same time, same station next week, God willing. My name is Najib Adeyemi. God bless Nigeria.